Now this Dutch Army Centurion did not get the gun upgrade. Some tanks later on, this is still not the 20-pounder gun on, later tanks will see, if you have a look, you'll see those subtle differences between the different countries and those different tank guns. Now, one of the other things going on in the background is at the same time as we're building the Centurion, we have a worry in the West that the Russians have got their JS3 tanks in service. When Stalin dies in, I think it's, 51, 52, they changed the title of those JS3 tanks. They're heavy Russian tanks, 122mm gun. They changed the title to T10. Stalin gets forgotten about quickly. We are worried. We've seen a T10 tank. What's coming next? We think the Russians are going to be building an even bigger tank. So in the background, we start heavier tank programs. One leads to the Conqueror tank that goes into service in 1955 with a 120mm gun on it. What if that gun's not enough as well? We might need 180mm, they think. Big enough gun to knock out the future Soviet heavy tanks. So this is why we end up with this beast coming on now, fv4005. It's really a test bed vehicle for that gun. 183mm gun, the biggest gun ever fitted on a tank for direct fire roll. fv4005, it goes through a couple of iterations. They start by trying to design an assisted loading system because the rounds on this are so big. They have to break them down anyway with the projectile first, and then you load it with pace with all the propellants that's going to blast that round out the end of the barrel. They start by trying to come up with a sort of assisted loader system. Looked like it's an auto loader, it actually wasn't. And then there's this worry, what if this attack from Russia, what if the threat from the Warsaw Pact comes sooner than we expect? So they come up with this second iteration. We might have been able to build these in a hurry should the threat start emerging quicker than we wanted it to. Hence, this is the second iteration of the vehicle with that on the top, that turret system there. They've got it to the point they can angle that gun about 45 degrees either side of the centre line so that it won't go too far sideways, because even with, you can see on the back there, they've got a ground anchor to anchor it into the ground. If they put it about 90 degrees, so much pressure will probably press the tank over that. 1955, they stopped the program, and the reason for that is two different reasons. One, in the background, it emerges that Khrushchev, now the Russian president, or in charge basically, he doesn't like heavy tanks. He stops the Russian heavy tank program. And the second reason, the key reason, is now we can get anti-tank missiles to do the same job at distance and with greater penetration and accuracy than firing this, the 183mm gun with its huge great rounds. One of the problems of the rounds, they're so big and hedge rounds tend to be a bit slow through the air because it's like firing a dustbin. Those rounds can be blown off target out to about 2,000 metres away, etc. So they're not too sure if this is the best way to go. And missiles tend to take over, or we end up, as we find out as we look at the Centurion story, there's perhaps other ways we can develop our tank gun.